Test, test. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the August 14th, 25th, 2025 meeting of the Memphis and Shelby County Land Use Control Board. My name is Mary Sharp, and I will be serving as your chairperson today. We will begin this morning's meeting with the roll call. Mr. Ragsdale, would you proceed, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Gill.
Here.
Mr. McKinnon.
Aquí.
Mr. Norman.
Here.
Ms. Wilbanks.
Here.
Mr. Winter.
Here.
Mr. Claybrook.
Here.
Chair Sharp.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I would like to remind you that copies of today's agenda are located at the front right podium if you need them. If you wish to be a speaker on any case that is on today's agenda, please fill out the attendance speaker's card located at the front podiums. Once you have filled out the card, please bring it up front and hand it to one of our DPD staff members located at the left podium. When that agenda item is called, you will be given an opportunity to speak. At this point, I would like to read our conflict of interest statement. The adopted policy of the Land Use Control Board requires that any member of the board recuse himself or herself from any participation in the discussion or voting on any matter on the meeting's agenda in which he or she may have direct or indirect personal interest. The member shall vacate his or her seat during deliberation on any matter from which they have recused themselves. An abstention may substitute for a recusal for the purposes of maintaining a quorum. I would now like to get approval of our minutes from the last meeting. May I please have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion amongst our board members? Seeing that there's none, I assume we're ready to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, we don't have any director's remarks today. Mr. Ragsdale, may I please get a secretary's report for the month and an explanation of today's procedures?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a secretary's report, but I did want to note that, as you may have seen, I did call Mr. Claybrook today for our roll call, and he is joining us. He is a Board of Adjustment member and has agreed to join us today as an alternate for the Land Use Control Board, so we appreciate him being here. And I'll go into the procedure. At the beginning of today's meeting, we will establish a consent agenda for those items where no one in the audience or on the board is requesting an individual public hearing. After the consent agenda is established and approved, we will move on to the regular agenda. For each case on the regular agenda, the DPD planner will give a presentation. This will be followed by the applicant's presentation and any testimony from others who support the application. The applicant and supporters will be given a total of 10 minutes. Following each speaker, the chair will ask the board members if they have any questions for that speaker. Next, the opposition will be given a total of 10 minutes to present their case. Following each speaker, the chair will ask the board members if they have any questions for that speaker. Finally, the applicant will then have 3 minutes rebuttal period under the same rules. Following all the presentations and after all parties have been heard, the chair will ask the board members have any questions for anyone who spoke. Then the chair will close the public hearing portion of the case, entertain a motion on the matter, discuss, and then vote on the application. If the applicant or any speaker would like to be heard after the conclusion of the public hearing portion of the case, or if a board member wishes to hear any additional testimony for any party for additional clarification, a motion will need to be made along with a second and then a 2/3 affirmative vote of the board is required to reopen the public hearing portion of the agenda item. If the public hearing is reopened, both the applicant and the opposition will be allowed an equal amount of time to provide additional testimony. After the additional comments, the board will close the public hearing portion of the case and deliberate and then take a final vote. Again, if any member of the audience wishes to provide testimony in support of or in opposition to a case, he or she will need to fill out a speaker's card. These are available at the front podium. Speaker's cards are not required of applicants since their names are already part of the record.
Thank you, Mr. Ragsdale. Before going into the next session, I'd like to announce that the 16th is Miss Lisa Wilbanks' birthday. We want to wish her a happy birthday. The board is a supporter of community involvement, and we welcome neighborhood comments and feedback. We are respectful of the fact that many of you have taken off work or adjusted your schedules to be here today. but we ask that your comments be made within the time frame allowed. If there are multiple speakers, please try not to be repetitive so as to make the most of your side's 10-minute time allotment. Lastly, I'd like to ask you to silence your cell phones so as not to interrupt or disturb anyone during today's proceedings. With our procedures now explained, I would like to introduce to my right Ms. Lisa Wilbanks, who will be this morning's consent agenda chairperson. Ms. Wilbanks will read all of the items as the consent agenda. Once the consent agenda is read, if you wish to discuss one of these items individually, please come forward and give us the item number and we will pull that case. We will then vote on the remaining consent agenda items as one vote, and following the vote, we will hear the cases that were pulled individually. Ms. Wilbanks, would you please proceed?
Yes, ma'am. Item number 2, case MJR 2025-015 in unincorporated Shelby County. The request is a major modification to allow a convenience store with gas pumps and reduce the residential density in Area 1 located at 0 East Shelby Drive, the northeast corner of Forest Hill Irene Road and East Shelby Drive. Staff recommendation is hold for 1 month. Item number 3, case MJR 2025-016 in the Jackson area. The request is a major modification to allow a hand detailing car wash located at 3872 Summer Avenue. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item number 4, case MJR 2025-019 in unincorporated Shelby County. The request is a major modification to allow a convenience store with gas pumps that does not meet the design requirements of sub-item 2.6.3J, 2D, i, and site plan approval at 4670 Hex Cross Road. Staff recommendation is hold. Item number 5 has been withdrawn. Item number 6, case MJR 2025-021 in East Memphis. The request is a major modification to allow an indoor multi-story self-storage facility located at 1714 West Massey Road. Staff recommendation is hold for 1 month. Item number 7, case PD 2025-009 in the Raleigh area. The request is a residential plan development to allow 30 single-family detached cottage lots located at 3156 Covington Pike. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item number 8, case PR 2025-001 in Core City. The request is a revocation of PD 08-311 located at 85 North 4th Street. Staff recommendation is approval with one condition. Item number 10, case S 2025-034 in Cordova. The request is a 2-lot commercial major re-subdivision located at 2798 New Brunswick Road. Staff recommendation is approval. Item number 11, case S 2025-035 in East Memphis. The request is a 2-lot commercial major re-subdivision located at 5110 Park Avenue. Staff recommendation is approval. Item number 12, case S 2025-037 in unincorporated Shelby County. The request is an 8-lot residential major re-subdivision located at 10408 Raleigh LaGrange Road. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item number 13, case SAC 2025-004 in South Memphis. Request is a street closure of Louisiana Street located at the intersection of West McLemore Avenue and Louisiana Street, extending approximately 670 feet to the south. Staff recommendation is hold for 1 month. Item number 15 has been withdrawn. Item number 16, case SUP 2025-021 in South Memphis. The request is a special use permit to allow a funeral home in the commercial mixed-use 1 district located at 2279 Lamar Avenue. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. That is our consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wilbanks. We have pulled item numbers 1, 9, and 14. The items on the consent agenda will now be voted on with one vote, subject to the recommendation of DPD. If the consent agenda is approved, only items number 1, 9, and 14 will have full independent public hearings. By voting on the consent agenda, each board member is affirming that he or she has read the staff report and agrees with its findings and, where applicable, its recommended conditions. Can I get a motion, please, Ms. Wilbanks?
Yes, ma'am. Move to approve item number 2, case MJR 2025-015. Item number 3, case MJR 2025-016. Item number 4, case MJR 2025-019. Item number 6, case MJR 2025-021. Item number 7, case PD 2025-009. Item number 8, case PR 2025-001. Item number 10, case S 2025-034. Item number 11, case S 2025-035. Item number 12, case S 2025-037. Item number 13, case SAC 2025-004. And item number 16, case SUP 2025-021.
Do I hear a second? Okay, we have a second, and we have a motion. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion on the consent agenda?
Sir, yeah,
14's going to be heard.
Okay. All right, is there any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I assume we're ready to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll go to our regular agenda with Mr. Gill.
Item number 1, PD 2025-003, University Single Family Attached Plan Development at 3806 Poplar Avenue.
Okay, we're going to hear the case. That mic's not working. His mic's not working.
Good, nope. That was it? Okay, yeah. Good morning. Nicholas Ward, Division of Planning and Development. This is a request at 3806 Poplar Avenue, so that's on the north side of the Poplar near the university, for a 6-lot single-family plan development. The applicants are here with us today. As I said, this is a 6-lot single-family plan development with a shared drive. For all intents and purposes, this is a 6-lot subdivision with a shared drive. Like I said, we're on the north side of Poplar near the university. Here's an aerial of the site, and I'll give you a wider out image here in a minute so you can see sort of where we're at. The major thing is we're recommending approval with 2 key reasons for that, and I'll go through those. The first is this provides the same number of units as would be allowed by right with no approval other than a building permit, with a preferable design than what would be allowed by right. And the second item is that it's consistent with Memphis 3.0, and I'll go through why that is. So here's that bigger image of the site location. As you can see, here's the university. We're sort of between Poplar and Highland and Poplar and Goodlet. Here is their site plan. I do want to note for the record just one very slight change that was just submitted yesterday. The site plan in your staff report has the parking for Unit 1 in front of the building along Poplar. Our recommended conditions would have precluded that, so it's been moved to the rear of the building, which is a preferable change. Just wanted to note that for the record. Again, very minor change from the site plan that's in your staff report. Another thing to note is that staff's written conditions would require this fencing along the rear of the property to be 10 feet in height. I believe that was something that was worked out between the applicant and the abutting property owners. Going on to our findings, why we're in support of this application, again, 6 units will be allowed on this property by right, no approval needed other than a building permit. When I say 6 units, that would be 3 single-family homes and 3 ADUs, accessory dwelling units. In 2021, this body approved a 3-lot subdivision for this property. So 6 units could be built here by right tomorrow. However, the proposed design is preferable. The major reason for that is this solution would have 3 separate driveways on Poplar. What's proposed is only 1 shared driveway. So we therefore think this is an appropriate use of the plan development as a tool to allow sort of a unique design that is better than what would be built under the underlying code. And then moving on to our second finding, Memphis 3.0 designates this property as in its future land use as an anchor neighborhood, primarily single unit. What does that mean? Well, in the goals and objectives for properties, designated for that in the future, it is primarily single unit, remains predominantly single family, but it advocates for locating housing near services and jobs. This is, as shown on the map, literally across the street from what is maybe East Memphis's biggest job center, right, being the university. So we find it more than just consistent with Memphis 3.0. It, in our view, actively advances those goals. So with that, I will be available for your questions. I didn't go through much of the design of the homes themselves. I'm assuming the applicants are going to go through that. But again, we're recommending approval as amended with that minor site plan change. I'm available for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Waldrop. Do we have any questions of staff at this time? Okay, we're ready for the applicant to come up and give us your name and address and your presentation, 10 minutes.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Anita Archambault. I'm with ETI Corporation, 1755 Lynn Field Road, Suite 100, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119. As staff mentioned, I'm representing the applicant for this development, the Amen Plan development. As mentioned, we are requesting the approval for this 6 detached single-family home ranging from 4,400 square feet to 4,800 square feet, achieving a density of approximately 4.6 units per acre. As important, as noted by staff, this is a density that's allowed by right, and we're simply providing a look and a feel that meets more and is more consistent with that of the neighborhood. It should be noted that the original application, as you probably have noticed, that there were 11 attached units originally proposed. And following extensive conversations with property owners, the neighborhood consultations, and subsequent meetings with more neighbors, there was a reduction of over 45% of the units from 11 to 6. Further, the property met with several property owners to even further refine the plans, as you see today, with the inclusion of a heightened fence in the rear yard to 10 feet, and further enhancements along Poplar Avenue, including a gated fence and enhanced landscaping. We did have some traffic impact analysis completed by our consulting engineer, Dr. Lipinski, who confirmed that the 6 units would have minimal impact onto Poplar Avenue. The development generates approximately 11 trips during the AM peak hours and 8 trips during the PM peak hours. And the overall trips coming to and from this 6-unit development is below the threshold that would require any additional further studies. And as discussed by Wright, this property could have 3 entrances onto Poplar Avenue. Our proposed consolidated design really does significantly improve traffic safety by minimizing and reducing the conflict points onto Poplar Avenue from 3 to 1, and minimizes turning movements and vehicular conflicts. TDOT also regarding access and separation of alignment of driveways typically requires driveway access points to either align with opposing driveways or maintain a 100-foot separation. This development, like many, believe would be entitled to an exception to that 100-foot separation requirement based on the minimal traffic volumes generated by this development and, of course, the strategic location of the access drive. And as you all know, state law does allow for reasonable property access onto state highways like Poplar Avenue, and access spacing requirements are not intended to block development. And we will continue to work with the City of Memphis and TDOT in granting the exceptions when justified by engineering analysis, which we believe our project does. The development, as mentioned, features the 10-foot cedar perimeter fence, which is now displayed on the site plan, along with the gate along Poplar Avenue, comprehensive landscaping, superior design, and building materials. We believe this creates an attractive street presence and provides appropriate privacy along and for adjoining property owners. There is also adequate room in the rear, along the rear property line, if a detention area is needed for drainage issues, if necessary. And we will continue to work with city staff in making that determination through the review and approval process as that continues to move along. As staff mentioned, they have done a comprehensive review and recommends approval with conditions, and we agree with the conditions and have complied with those conditions within the site plan. We believe the proposal satisfies all plan development criteria, including compatibility with adjacent properties, adequate public services, and consistency with Memphis 3.0, your comprehensive plan objectives. The supporting traffic engineering analysis really does reinforce these findings regarding access and traffic management with technical data demonstrating minimal impact on the transportation network. We believe that the Amon project does represent really an ideal balance between developer needs and property owner rights with the city's neighboring neighborhood planning goals and trying to address the adjacent property owners' concerns. I thank you for your consideration and hope for a favorable recommendation for the Amon plan development.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of her right now? Okay, we have one other person in support. We'd like for you to come up and make your presentation. Give us your name and address.
Okay. Hey, I'm Lisa Mallory, and I live at 3801 South Galloway, and I'm here to represent the 3 owners that back up to the property. We had a meeting with Joseph at the University of Memphis where he presented his plan and listened to our objections and our concerns, and later came back a couple of months later with a plan that exceeded our expectations. He met with us, we discussed the plan, we discussed the fence. He agreed to raise the height of the fence, and we offered to help pay for that raise. Christina Billings, the Harrises, and Joel Hobson were all at the meeting. We felt like Joseph came back with a very thoughtful and professional presentation. He listened to everything that we said, and there were just a few issues, mainly the drainage and the fence, and we're happy to now work with Joseph and work everything out. Thank you.
Thank you. Have any questions of her right now? Okay, we're ready for the opposition. You can give us your name and address and state your case. 10 minutes.
Great, thank you. Excuse me. I'm Virginia McLean. I live at 3838 Poplar, which is 2 doors down the street from me, from this project. I have lived there since 1976. I've served on the University Neighborhood Development Corporation. I've served on the University District Committee. I have an urban planning degree from the University of Virginia. I take the position that, and I really am asking a question in a way, the compromise that was reached. Okay, first of all, there's one house on this piece of property. I believe it was in 2021 that an agreement was, a compromise was reached to subdivide the lot into 3 lots. Since then, it sort of seems to have shifted that people are entitled to build multiple units on that property instead of the 3, and it's a bit confusing to me. I'd like to go also to a map that's been submitted to y'all on page, let's see, it was page 6 and page 3 of the plan, staff's report. Basically, they're really pretty confusing. They indicate, the one on page 3 does a big circle around this lot. Most of what's circled is the University of Memphis. It's across a 7-lane highway, which is what Poplar is. If the city of Memphis really wants to make this neighborhood walkable, they should reduce that highway to 5 lanes. Right now, the buses can't go down it without side-swiping telephone poles, and that would be a great first step. And having worked with all the neighborhoods around the university, each one really has its very unique characteristics. There's the neighborhood up near Highland, there's Bunton, there's the area across Southern, Red Acres, the Village. These neighborhoods have worked with the university for a long time to provide a very interactive community that supports each other. So it seems really pretty strange to come into Red Acres, which is a tree-lined, single house, nothing taller than 2 stories neighborhood. It's a historic neighborhood. It's a friendly and welcoming neighborhood. We're built around a golf course. It's a very inclusive group. When you look at the map on page 6, it's a bit misleading because the colors, number one, the golf course is colored the same color as the parking lots and buildings at the University of Memphis. They're brown blocks that are designated. I can't tell if they're multifamily or not, but that looks like what they've been designated. Several of those, at least 4, are MLG&W pumping stations, so they're not multifamily housing units. The university neighborhood development overlay, it goes from Poplar at Highland. It's really along Highland that the area is being developed as part of the university. So suggesting that we're across the street from the university and therefore subject to really intense reclassification, I'm not sure that's accurate. And I respect the nice lady from ETF, but she's from Pennsylvania. So I think that there's really needs to be a little more give and take here. We met when this planned unit development was proposed. The whole neighborhood was really pretty much astonished by what was being proposed. And then subsequently, 5 of the neighbors that Lisa mentioned met with the developer, and they really had a good working relationship, which is great. And yesterday, I got that new landscape proposal plan, which is excellent. I was so glad to see that. So thank you. Where'd Joseph go? Joseph. But in the communication between those 5 neighbors and the rest of the neighborhood, there's been no interaction. So what we've heard, and I'd like to just list these because if this is approved, I believe it should be approved with these as conditions. It said that there would be 6 single-family houses with no additions or increases beyond 2 stories to any of those homes. It said that there would be no outdoor recreational facilities. We were told about the lighting being 8 feet, shining down, and I believe that's part of the staff report. If I'm wrong, y'all correct me. The boundaries are accurate, and the setbacks off the back and off Poplar, which is a urban corridor, so it's set back 40 feet. I think that they were told that there would be no conversion of these homes to rental units. I think that should be a condition because you're really going into a single-family established neighborhood. Let's see, we were told that there would be an HOA to take care of landscaping and maintenance, and we were told that there would be a member designated in this new HOA to communicate with Red Acres neighborhood. I'd like to ask that if this is approved, those be documented as conditions of approval. Also yesterday, and I'm not being critical of them, but I haven't because it was maybe 2 days ago, I asked for a rear elevation of these houses and I hadn't gotten one yet, but while they say they're going to be 2 stories and they list the ceiling height as 31 feet, the actual roof line of these is 40 feet tall, which is really a pretty big attic up there. So I think that it should be clear that these are only for 2-story buildings. I mean, yeah. And also, now this I've been told, and I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I've been told that there are problems with the with TDOT, with the access point. I've been told that there are drainage problems. I was actually over there yesterday, and MLG&W is refurbishing the pumping station. And if there is a retention basin that's needed, I was told that it would just go along the back of the property and that all those hollies and crepe myrtles would be cut. I know in Williamsburg that when a retention basin was required, they put it under the pavement, And so it seems to me that it would be
You have
really...
2 minutes.
I'm sorry?
You have 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, 2 minutes. That it would be really a good idea to get those things nailed down before this project is approved as designed, or at least to require that if any of those things come to fruition, that it come back before this board. Because I don't think that the neighbors, at least I don't think you're expecting, sorry, gone, to have her trees all cut down back there. So I just think there's some real iffy things about this that haven't quite been nailed down. And I also believe that the 3.0 approach is in violation, really, of the sense of planning from the ground up, of creating livable neighborhoods. I think if you look at Central and the Parkway and Peabody and streets, corridors that have been kept residential, their neighborhoods have really been stabilized. So I ask you to get some more information about this before you approve it, and if you decide to approve it, that those conditions be in writing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McLean. Do we have any questions?
I have a question for Ms. McLean. Your HOA caveat as a condition, would you state that again?
I'm sorry.
That they would have an HOA or that they would be a part of the existing HOA?
They'll have their own HOA. Okay. We have a neighborhood association. It's not necessarily, I don't know if you would call it a home. I don't know legally how to define what we are, but we do have a homeowners group, a neighborhood association that we voluntarily pay dues to.
Okay, and your second one, you spoke of no rentals. Is that a part of your existing governance in your HOA?
I'm not sure. I know that there was discussion in the code of a short-term rental, and that went away. So I'm believing we do have a non-rental probably policy. That's something we ought to look into, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions of Ms. McLean? Okay, we're ready to hear the applicant's rebuttal.
Super. And I hate to not be able to answer all those questions, but I was president of the Neighborhood Association about 10 years ago, so I've forgotten some of it. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to address. Staff can confirm, but I think all of the conditions that essentially were requested are already part of the outline plan and the conditions that we've agreed to. Relative to the rentals question, it is fully our intent that these would be owner occupied. We want these to be single family homes that are able to have new families come in and enjoy the beautiful neighborhood as it currently stands. It's not to say if it was by right that the 3 homes with the 3 ADUs, those ADUs could be rental by right as well. So here we're proposing a development that we believe is consistent with the goals of the city, with meeting a lot of the thoughts and ideas and concessions by the neighborhood, and we're just hoping that we can start building this beautiful neighborhood and proceed to the city council for further action. That's all.
Okay. Have any questions of her at this point, of the applicant? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting. We're ready for the motion.
Motion to approve PD 2025-003 University Single Family Attached Plan Development at 3806 Poplar Avenue.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion amongst our board members?
I'd just like to say how I met with these neighbors at Red Acres privately prior to this applicant adjusting their plan. I just want to give the applicant a lot of credit for really working so closely with the neighborhood and making people who aren't easily pleased, because I know this. I know all those people that live there that touch this property. I'm very happy and even able to come in here and speak for them. So just wanted to give them credit. I'll be voting for this.
Anyone else? Anybody else? Okay, I assume we're ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mrs. McLean, the best thing to do is go talk to the planner
Yes,
over
sir.
here privately, so we'll move to the next case. Sure, then just speak directly to the planner. Thank you, Mrs. McLean. Item number 9, S 2025-030, unincorporated Shelby County, 97 lot major residential subdivision located at 0 Billy Mayer Road. At the west of Billy Mayer Road, approximately 1,000 feet north of, I can't even say that road, Rensselaer Drive and Billy Moore Road intersection.
Okay, is the applicant here? If you would come up and introduce yourself and give us your name and address.
75 Jefferson, Josh Whitehead, 275 Jefferson.
Okay, thank you. And we do have opposition, so we're going to go ahead and hear the case.
Good morning. I'm Nabanita Nira with DPD. Presenting the case number S 2025-030, located at 0 Billy Moore Road. The request is a 97 lot major residential subdivision. These are the location map and the vicinity map. On your screen are the zoning map and the land use map. The subject property is zoned R8 and surrounded by single-family residential. The 22.11 acre site is currently vacant. These are the pictures of the subject property. To give a background, the preliminary plan known as Patterson Ridge Subdivision, S 2003-043 was originally approved in 2004, with a revised plan approved in 2005. Subsequently, 2 years later, time extension was approved in 2006 for section B and C, which include the subject property. However, a final plat was never recorded, and these sections of the approved subdivision was expired. This is the proposed preliminary plan. The subdivision meets the width and building setback regulation of R8 zoning district. The applicant submitted the administrative deviation application to reduce the minimum lot size to 7,200 square feet in accordance with the subsection 921.2D of the UDC. This lot size reduction is the result of converting the streets to the UDC standards. In conclusion, the subdivision meets the regulation of R8 zoning district. The proposed preliminary plan is compatible with and in keeping with the character of the development in the neighborhood. The staff recommend approval with condition. These are the conditions on your screen. Happy to answer any question.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of staff at this point? Okay, hearing none, we're ready for the applicant.
Chair, again, Josh Whitehead, 275 Jefferson. My colleague, Mr. Mikic, has a slide deck, but I'll go ahead and get started. As Ms. Nira mentioned, this is a revival of a 2004 approval by this body. It's a revival of phases 2 and 3 of that project. This property was zoned R8, the current R8 zoning, which allows 8,000 square foot lots, back by the, approved by the Lands Control Board, City Council, and the County Commission back in 2003. That was the basis for the the subdivision plat that was submitted. Let's start on this slide. This demonstrates the number of surrounding subdivisions as well as homes that not only surround but also stub into our property. Stub streets are going to be a major component of the dialogue this morning. Here's a colorized version demonstrating the common areas which are mostly designed to accommodate stormwater detention. Next slide. As I mentioned, this was a rezoning to R8 from back in 2003. Next slide. And as Ms. Neera mentioned, in 2004, the approved preliminary plan had both phase 1 at the top there and phases 2 and 3 at the bottom. Next slide. Next slide. We want to demonstrate throughout our presentation how we have improved from that 2004 approval, and that is largely, number one, we've eliminated those 2 cul-de-sacs. Cul-de-sacs discourage traffic connectivity. DPD strongly suggested we get rid of those 2 cul-de-sacs, and we have. But probably more importantly, number 2, next slide, we've reduced the number of lots from 100 to 97. With that, Madam Chair, I want to be respectful of the cards that you received, and I'd like to be responsive to some of those comments, so I'd like to reserve the balance of my time for rebuttal.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, we're ready for the opposition. Come and state your name and address and give us your statement. Doesn't matter who's first.
Hi, good morning. My name is Giovanna Peterson, 5921 Peterson Ridge Lane, Memphis, Tennessee, 38135. My home resides, I guess, from the picture in that Section A or that Phase 1. I purchased my home back in May of 2022, so I am fairly new to the neighborhood. However, I am a part of the neighborhood. Me and my 9-year-old son reside there. And I just want to say that I am in opposition of the subdivision being built. That Billy Mayer 2-lane highway, it can get pretty congested, especially on a school day. Because we are on the unincorporated side of Shelby County, my son is not zoned for Bartlett Elementary, which is probably walking distance from our home. He attends school within Memphis Shelby County schools. So we already have to navigate around trying to leave early to try and not get caught up in the traffic that builds up in the morning for those students, those parents who attend Bartlett Elementary. On some days, we're able to make do and make it out of there in time, and on some days, we kind of get caught up in the traffic, trying to get out of the neighborhood. So adding that now 97 lot to the area will cause even more congestion in that area. And a lot of those kids that attend Bartlett Elementary are walkers. And so we always want to be cognizant of those children and those parents who do walk from the subdivision that's right next to Bartlett Elementary. We always want to be cognizant of them walking to school. So kind of adding that 97 lot subdivision there will even cause a little bit more confusion in traffic, if you will. Another reason why I chose to move to that area was because of the, if I could say, less traffic, not as much traffic as we would get within the city limits. As I stated, that is a 2-lane highway or road, and it's fairly quiet in that area, and I think kind of adding those homes would probably cause just a little bit more noise in the area. When this presentation was given to the members of the community a few weeks back, one of the things that was stated was there would be, I guess, entry points. I'm not sure if I missed that in the picture, but there would be entry points coming in and out of that subdivision. And I can't really still see how that would really work, again, because if you've been on Billy Mayer, it's a pretty narrow highway. It's not wide streets. They're pretty narrow. So I just wanted to come up here and say that I am in opposition of the subdivision being built, and I thank you for my time.
Thank you. Okay, we have 5 more speakers. Give us your name and address.
8 minutes remaining.
My name is Liz Garosa. I live at 5649 Rensselaer Drive. I'm speaking in opposition to this because the development has the potential to negatively impact neighborhoods between Billy Mayer and Old Brownsville Road, between St. Elmo and Peterson Ridge Lane, Rensselaer Drive, Pecan Trace, the Spring Lake subdivision. These areas border unincorporated Shelby County and Bartlett. The area you're looking at is not in any incorporated area. The whole area is not. This is a densely populated area with neighborhoods that are unincorporated. They are Eagle Ridge, Brownsville Woods, Peterson Ridge, Pecan Trace, Old Pecan Trace, Morning Flower, Parks Edge, Spring Lake, Oak Branch, and Sunset Lake. Willoughby Oaks and Daybreak subdivisions are located within the Bartlett city limits, and they are right across from this subdivision to the right on the picture. Residents living along Billy Mayer and Old Brownsville roads, will also be impacted by the increased traffic. There are about 1,500 to 2,000 homes in this unincorporated area. There have been 2 previously held meetings with neighbors regarding this project, and most of the people were opposed to it. There's some confusion about the actual, address of this proposal. One of them said it was on Billy Mayer, 0 Billy Mayer, and the other one says it is at 5819 Bedford, which is a dead-end street going into that subdivision. Some of the objections noted were constricted access for emergency vehicles. There are 3 entrances into the east of both Brownsville neighborhoods. You'll see those on the map. There are 3 that go directly into the neighborhood to the south of this. They are narrow streets, 2 lanes. If cars are parked on the side, 2 cars are not going through the middle. There's 1 entrance in Peterson's Ridge, which is the section, I believe it's A, of the existing subdivision. Most of the homes in those areas were built to be private ownership. They could not sell those homes, so someone went in and built homes to rent. So there are currently a lot of rentals in that area as well. The main entrance to this appears to be on Billy Mayer at this point. There are narrow streets, congestion, and heavier traffic on all the surrounding streets, especially narrow on Bedford and Eagle Ridge and Governor, which are the 3 entrances, exits and entrances from section B and C. There are no or insufficient traffic controls for surrounding areas. We have stop signs which are regularly ignored. Completion of St. Elmo between Billy Mayer and Old Brownsville would alleviate some of the issues. This has come up before for the past 20 years to get that area completed.
Okay, excuse me, we just have 2 minutes for 4 more speakers, so can you?
You mean it's 10 minutes total?
Yeah, we got
All
2
right.
minutes left.
Okay, I'm speaking for the entire community. I'm not sure
Okay.
who the other speakers
Well,
are.
we're not going to have time for the 3 more speakers.
All
then.
right.
Go ahead.
Well, we feel that environmental studies need to be done on this property. It's currently got lakes on it, ponds that are drainage areas. Bartlett and Shelby County need to work together to make sure that the traffic, the educational needs of the area are also addressed. We have very few community infrastructure resources. We've sent letters to all the commissioners asking for support to either have this project denied or to get sufficient environmental and community studies done along with traffic. I don't want to take all the rest of people's time, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a couple of minutes for 4 more speakers, so make
Try to be
your
really
point.
quick. Just to read, my name is Bobby Meadows. I am at 6020 Willoughby Oaks. I'm on the right side up by the lake. I think we are probably one of the only lakes in Bartlett. We're a 12-acre lake. I think our biggest concern, just in addition to what they said, is no discussion. Yes, they Trey did try to reach out to us, but we were in such opposition of this because we have a 48-inch pipe that runs from this property over into our lake, which also drains into a 36-inch pipe into Bartlett Parks. There's been no studies. We've talked to the Tennessee Wildlife. We have a lake, a beautiful lake full of fish, wildlife. Putting this many homes, one comment that Mr. Whitehead made was that we're allowing more homes to come into Shelby County because of need. We lost 5% of our population in this city in Shelby County over the last 2 years. I don't see a need. There's over 5,000 houses for sale in Shelby County. There needs to be more studies, environmental studies, like she said, especially regarding this lake. About a year ago, they did some clearing out there, I think, for surveying. And we've already seen sediment from that clearing that's gone through that pipe. So there needs to be more time to make sure that this is an appropriate plan.
Thank you. Thank you. Name and address.
So before we're going to have a question, so I'm not necessarily opposition or for, so I'm a neutral comment, so I don't want to take up time from the opposition. If I can maybe just have a little bit of leeway, 2 minutes tops.
Okay.
Is that
time? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. My name is Sean Lovejoy. I represent the Spring Lake Association. Our address is P.O. Box 280241, Memphis, Tennessee 38168. I'll refer you to your packet on page 3. You can see our lake on the north side of that map. We own a 23-acre lake. Our neighborhood is approximately 120 homes. It's been there since the 40s. That lake has been there as man-made since then, too. It's a natural spring lake that we've tried to maintain over the years.
Okay, we're out of time. We're out of time. Okay.
So
I know you're in between, right?
Right. It's really just a general statement asking for conditions. Like I said, we're not opposed to the development. We're not necessarily for it. We just want to make sure that certain conditions are met or addressed as far as silt intrusion and stormwater runoff. Based on historical practices of Peterson Ridge Phase 1, we've subsequently filed 2 lawsuits against Bowden Homes and 1 because of damage to our lake, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Okay, but we're out of time. We are, so if you could just, okay. Were you in opposition?
Yes.
Well, we're out of time for opposition.
I see positive and negative. The gentleman that I talked to said, well, you have to sign opposition with conditions.
Madam Chair, if we do want to give additional time, we want to make sure that we get everyone on the record, and and the board could choose to give additional time if you would like. However, if you do, both sides would need to have that additional time as well. So it's up to the board. I would say if there are any different comments that might be presented, you may consider.
I need 90 seconds, I promise.
These 2 people are not in opposition, they're in between. And Mr. Whitehead did not take hardly any of his time.
And for the record, if it is approved, we hope this succeeds. So I want to make sure I'm not speaking against it.
It sounds like that some of these are just things that could be discussed with the applicant, but I think that a lot of the concerns we're talking about, that were just mentioned would be dealt with engineering review, and so.
And we have spoken with the applicant individually, but I just want to make sure that the board understands our concerns for the record.
Okay, thank you. Let us decide I think we've heard your comments, so let us decide what we're going to do. We still have some other people that are standing up behind you, so if you could,
sure,
just take a seat, and then we'll decide how to
Okay.
proceed.
Now, we're out of time for opposition. What are we gonna do?
Yes. So
We
it
have
sounds like
two.
the others are also, they just want to make sure certain things are handled. So I would say that they could speak with the applicant after this, or us if they would like. And so I think that, we actually went over, so it's up to the board, but if there was not any additional information that would be shared, I think you would move on to the applicant.
Okay, I'm sorry. You can discuss it with the applicant, but we're ready for the applicant for the rebuttal.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Point of just question in order. If we bring this, however, to the vote, and they have not had an opportunity to talk with Mr. Whitehead and offer conditions, at that point, what would then be the method of recourse for reconciliation?
Well, and I believe the one that was just up there, Mr. Lovejoy said that he has spoken with the applicant.
Okay.
And so, I would suggest that if there are a couple of people here, it's up to the chair and the board how much time you would like to give. But if you want to just make sure that you get all comments, even brief, you could do that. And then we could allow them time to speak.
I'm just making sure that we know what we would be voting on if there are conditions that would be offered and that people feel as if they're at least being heard. And if Josh is going to accept the conditions, then so be it.
And Madam Chair, for the record, we do not object to additional time being offered for whatever that's worth.
We have two more speakers. We'll give you a minute apiece. Give us your name and address.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Mike Crosby, 5870 Bedford Road, and that's in the Eagle Ridge subdivision just directly south of this. My concern is concerning utilities. The main power line that comes directly over the bottom lots, there's 50 or 60 foot high power lines. I brought this up in the meeting. I was told that, we have underground in this proposed subdivision, underground. But for us, what are they going to do? They said there's a 5-foot easement. You can't put 50 or 60 foot power lines that are over these bottom lots in a 5-foot easement. The other concern I have is gas pressure. I could go into detail there, but I'm concerned about where's the gas going to enter, and will I lose gas pressure? I installed a whole house home generator because of all the issues of power in this area. The other matter that I have, which all these I can go into detail, but I've only got a minute. Water pressure. How's water going to get into this subdivision? Are we going to be using a shared pipe and they're going to be sipping out of the same pipe? I had to install a sump pump on the northwest side of my house to take care of the drainage in the winter when it comes down from the power lines. There are 3 power poles that come down between my house and the house next door, so the water runs down through that area. The other thing was it talked about the sewer exception. And I've never heard of a piece of real estate being attractive based on a sewer, but I understand that the attractive part about this for the developers is they can tie into the sewerage system of the county, and they'll be able to do that. So I'm very concerned about all the rainwater and the runoff. The other thing are, a number of us talked about property taxes that because of our assessment went up. We were told in the meeting by our supervisor, he said, because many people were talking about various details of this, the concerns that they had, it was kind of labeled as amenities, I'll put it that way. And so,
Sir, you've gone over your minute, about another minute, so.
All right, well, thank you for listening.
Okay, he'll handle it in his rebuttals to you, Mr.
Is there somebody
Whitehead
I can give more detail to?
Okay, we got one more speaker here. Please just give us 1 minute, because we've given you Okay.
I'll do my best.
Name and address.
Mark Owens, 5778 Rensselaer Drive. My family moved on that street in 1977. So this is very important to me. I have struggled with the increased traffic flow on Rensselaer ever since they cut it through. And so that road was cut through at some point in the 90s that just increased traffic that neighborhood was not designed for. Continually, we have pled for opening up St. Elmo, for that to be the main line of traffic between Raleigh and Bartlett. That is also, that has not come to fruition. That addressing the traffic flow through the middle of Brownsville Woods subdivision is impertinent before any other development can be had. Yes, Billy Mayer is a major impact, but traffic flow starts on Rensselaer at about 5:45 with light commercial vehicles going through there. Everything but an 18-wheeler rolls down Rensselaer every morning, all morning long. And it is a huge concern for me, the safety and the well-being of the residents of my neighborhood. That needs to be addressed well before anything is continued and proposed. So I am adamantly against this. I welcome new neighbors, but they have to get past my door in a safe and convenient manner. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're ready, Mr. Whitehead, for your rebuttal, and we'll give you a few more minutes as well. I know you didn't take but a minute of your initial presentation. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's advance a couple slides, Mr. Mikic. So subdivisions have the standard required findings of fact. Are there adequate facilities? Are there adequate public amenities, et cetera? And we'll demonstrate that in a moment. But in addition, we have this section of the UDC 977H2 that allows the Land Use Control Board, even if the public facilities are in place, to reject a subdivision if it's not keeping with the character of the quote-unquote development in the neighborhood. And the Land Use Control Board is directed to look at building setback lines, size of lots, widths of lots, connectors and arterial roadways being adjacent, et cetera. And that's what these next few slides are going to look at. So here's a look at the lot sizes surrounding us. Going chronologically to our west is the Brownsville Woods subdivision, 3 sections, all approved in 1973 with 10,000 square foot lots. And on the east of us, east of Billy Marr, we have Willoughby Woods, Daybreak. Now remember, those are in the R10 district, R10 unincorporated Shelby County to the west, R10, RS10, the city of Bartlett to our east. We are in that middle part that was rezoned several years ago to the R8 district. To our south, we have a 9,700 square foot lots in Eagle Ridge Village, and to our north, our first phase, 8,700 square foot lots. We average in size at 84, or about 8,500, next slide. But when you incorporate our common area, because we're just about the only subdivision outside of Willoughby Woods, which we can admit is an outlier on all these subdivisions. Outside of Willoughby Woods, we're the only development that has common area, because the new standard for subdivisions is post-development runoff shall be less than pre-development runoff. That was not the case in 1973, 1992, et cetera. So we have to accommodate that runoff, and because we are doing so, we actually bump up our average lot size to 9,200. Next slide. And just to give an idea of what these homes will look like, I am going to go through the next few slides pretty quickly. Next slide. These are homes in Phase 1, Peterson Ridge to our north. Next slide. I will say that the process does work. We had a neighborhood meeting a couple weeks ago, as has been mentioned, and I realize we haven't completely met eye to eye on all issues, but I want to demonstrate the fact that we have really come close to addressing. Well, we've addressed many of their issues. Number one, there was a request for minimum lot size. There was a request to ensure that those stormwater detention areas are properly maintained. And there was a request to prohibit party houses and Airbnbs. We are going to do that through our CCRs, which will be submitted to OPD once we submit the plat, and those would be recorded simultaneously. We had a subsequent neighborhood meeting with Spring Lake. We do appreciate their concerns. I keep on saying our phase one, but we were not the developers of phase one. Phase one did result in a lot of sedimentation. In fact, in one person's terms, a destruction of their lake. And we don't want to have to go through the lawsuits that the other developer went through. But also, I think the new standards of county engineering would prevent that from happening. But we have been in communication. We have a basin plan, and we have an erosion control plan that as construction is commencing, we will have temporary basins to ensure there's no runoff from this site, at least more runoff than there currently is today. And we are willing to enter into a private agreement if necessary with the Spring Lake Association, because we certainly, again, do not want to go through a litany of litigation. Next slide. One other comment, and you heard it this morning, traffic on Billy Marr, we are willing, and Ms. Nira added it into her conditions, and I think Mr. Mikic has disseminated a letter. This would be a new condition number 4, new compared to what your staff report contains as conditions. We would like to build a left turn lane from Billy Marr into our site. We would be the only subdivision along Billy Marr that will have that feature. Next slide. More than that, there were some comments, this was from a family in Willoughby Woods, about our subdivision entrance. We have consulted with Blair Parker. He has produced this drawing, and we'd also like to make this a condition of our approval to ensure that the entrance to our subdivision from Billy Marr is attractive. Next slide. Stub streets. Stub streets touch two things. Number one, the traffic on Rensselaer. The traffic on Rensselaer, in many respects, is what it is because it's one of the few streets connecting Old Brownsville to the west and Billy Marr on our east. And you can see that demonstrated right here at the bottom of the screen. That is because, in large part, this site has been undeveloped. It has not provided and assisted with the connectivity, and that is, we respect the fact that stub streets can be a sensitive topic because we are adding connectivity through the neighborhood, but that will help, number one, the traffic on Rensselaer Drive, but number two, the water pressure. All of those roads will have water lines under them, and the fire department and the public works departments will be the first to tell you that the more connectivity with water lines, the better the water pressure. Next slide. I am joined here, obviously, by my clients, Trey Sowell and Jay Madden, but also by Harvey Matheny with the Pickering firm. He has done a traffic analysis. What I've done here is just demonstrated the somewhat circuitous pattern from the site out to the stub streets. We don't anticipate there being much traffic impact on the surrounding streets. It will largely be our traffic, our trips per day onto Billy Marr Road. And we have shown that, and we believe that there will be a less than 10% impact on Billy Marr. Next slide. Okay, so what is the traffic today on Billy Marr? TDOT manages a traffic count program in which they place cordons down around the county's roads, the state's roads, quite frankly. There is a counter to our south that counts about 7,000 trips a day, and there's a counter to our north up near New Brownsville Road that shows about 4,000. Next slide. The 7,000 trips per day on Billy Marr, south of us, south of Rensselaer actually, is actually at a close to historic low over the last 10 years. The historic high right before COVID was 9,000. So our 10% increase to the current 7,040 would bring us up to 7,744. That is a 14% reduction from the high in 2019. And I guess what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that we will add traffic on Billy Marr, but it will be within that natural fluctuation that has occurred along Billy Marr from highs to lows over the last 10 years. Next slide. What does 7,700 trips a day look like on a 2-lane rural road? I've just hopscotched around the county. Frank Road, just east of Houston Levee, 7,500. Brunswick, just south of Millington, Arlington. I think that says about 8,500. Next slide. Sanga, just south of Trinity, 8,800. Raleigh-LaGrange near the dog park entrance at Shelby Farms, over 9,000. So we believe that Billy Marr having less than this traffic on these roads kind of gives you an idea of what kind of level of traffic that is. So here we had another comment about the need for housing, and it's true. There's been a lot of stories about the reduction of population in Shelby County, and as a several generation Memphian, it hurts my feelings, and I think it hurts all of our feelings. But here's some happy news, and it's not reported. Housing units are up. Since 2000, the number of housing units has been on the increase, showing that the decline in population is less about people fleeing Shelby County and more about a reduction in household size. Next slide. Looking at the more national level, there is a huge disconnect between housing supply and housing demand. I think it's interesting that we trust the marketplace in so many things. We trust the marketplace to have the right amount of ground beef when we go to Kroger. We trust the marketplace to have a Honda Accord when we're ready to go buy one at the dealership. But the housing is so regulated. We have a distrust, and the country has a distrust in deregulating the housing industry, and I get that. But because of that, J.P. Morgan has found that we're near a 69-year low on vacancy rates for owner and renter-occupied housing. Housing experts, including a bipartisan coalition in Congress, believe that it is the procedural veto points that are part of the major culprit on this disconnect between supply and demand. California, of all places, California is probably one of our more regulated states. Even they have now said that certain subdivisions are by right and that cities and counties no longer have the ability to reject them. And finally, in 2024, according to Realtor.com, 2024 was a very aggressive home building year. It will take that pace of home building for a period of 7 years to catch up to housing demand. Next slide. Finally, there are a handful of sites in Shelby County that have this golden ticket. This is a sewer letter. There are less than 6 sites that have this sewer letter. What is a sewer letter? When Mayor Strickland was first elected, he said, we need to take care of the city sewers inside the city limits, and we're no longer going to allow areas that we cannot annex to tap into the sewer system. He provided a few exceptions and exemptions to that, and one of them was if you had a multi-phase subdivision and phase 1 was built, you have the right to connect into the city sewer. Because there's so few undeveloped parcels in unincorporated Shelby County, this sewer letter has made the value of this property skyrocket. It will not remain undeveloped. It will be developed in some capacity. We have demonstrated that we are building single-family homes that are compatible with the neighborhood, but it could very well be developed at a much more intense level. The word by right was thrown around in the last case as it relates to subdivisions, because the last case, item number 1 on your agenda, Madam Chair, was a planned development. There's certain findings of fact that this body has to make for planned developments. The word by right was thrown around as a subdivision because subdivisions meet all of the criteria of the UDC. I just want to remind everyone that this is a subdivision. We are meeting the criteria of the UDC. Next slide. We have done environmental studies. Next slide. And we can share them. Pickering, Harvey Matheny did those. Again, let's go back to the 2004 approval. We believe we have substantially improved that project. We are most significantly adding a connection point to Billy Marr. Can you imagine this subdivision being built without that connection and all of the traffic being impacted upon those stub streets? Number 2, we've removed the cul-de-sacs. And number 3, we've actually reduced the number of lots from 100 to 97. Next slide. Finally, and I think I've mentioned this, you have a copy of my letter adding the 2 conditions, and we would respectfully request that those 2 conditions be added. With that, Madam Chair, I'm available for any questions.
Well, thank you. You're right on time. Thank you.
I had to stop the
Okay.
question.
Do we have any questions of either the applicant or any of the opposition board members? You have a question? Go ahead.
So, Mr. Whitehead, I think you've addressed many of the comments and the concerns from the opposition. You addressed traffic. you addressed site or silt intrusion and runoff. Could you talk about, there was a question about utilities, and there was a question about pipe size and I guess the water leaving the site?
So let's start with the last first, stormwater. So the new standard, and this has probably not been the case for maybe about 15 years or so, the new standard by county and city engineering for that matter is that the stormwater runoff from a site before a development occurs cannot be increased. And that goes to common law. If you increase the velocity or the volume of water from your site, you are liable in civil court. And so I think that's largely how the county, when the county engineer reviews a subdivision, that's probably why he or she has made that determination. With regard to the potable water, we've discussed that the more connectivity, whatever issues there are with water pressure would be addressed. Sewer, we have, and then electricity, we have not submitted plans to MLGW, but they go through a rigorous design process to ensure that there's adequate electricity for the site. But there was a comment by one of our neighbors to the south with regard to the overhead electric lines. I believe those are on our property, and if they are, we would just have to accommodate if they need to be moved into the easement or create a new easement, and it would serve maybe both our properties and their properties. But I did speak to that gentleman during the neighborhood meeting, and there is, unfortunately, when those power poles were placed, I think MLGW thought that the easement was a suggestion because the power poles are not always in that 5-foot easement.
Just a follow-up. So regarding the comment from Mr. Meadows about the pipe size, 36 to 24, is it your position that because of the common area and the detention that it would, maybe you speak to that, I'm not going to answer it, please.
Harvey, we spoke about this yesterday. There is a box culvert or a pipe that goes underneath Billy Marr that flows northeast. We are required to ensure that whatever runoff is happening now will be equal to or less than it is today.
Thank you.
Sir, I think you can speak with them after. Okay. Sir, we have the applicant has the floor right now. They have a time for rebuttal. You can speak with them after. You can speak with us after. Sir, please.
Okay. Any further questions of the applicant or the opposition? Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close the public portion of this meeting at this time. And we are ready for a motion.
Motion to approve item number 9. It's S 2025-030, unincorporated Shelby County, 97-lot major residential subdivision located at 0 Billy Mare Road.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion amongst our members? Any discussion?
I'll just say, I think, I know Billy Mare pretty well. I know traffic is a big issue out there. It's a 2-lane road. It's interesting to see the trip generation report, or at least the traffic counts from the state, and also maybe the connection of the additional the additional outlets through the other neighborhoods. I think should help with that. But I definitely hear the neighbors' concerns about traffic. I know it's a tough thing out there.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, I did just want to note that these two conditions, number 4 and 5, were mentioned. They were not in the staff report, but they were mentioned and provided to us previously. So if there is no objection, we can accept those as conditions. Okay.
Is that okay? Okay. Anything else for discussion? Okay, hearing none, I assume we're ready to vote. Is that going to be an individual vote?
I can do an individual vote. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. McKinnon?
Yes.
Mr. Norman?
Yes.
Mr. Winter?
Yes.
Mr. Claybrook?
Yes.
Ms. Wilbanks?
Yes.
Chair Sharp?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 14, SUP 2025-018 South. Special use permit to allow vehicle sales in the commercial mixed use 1, CMU 1 district located at 1507 Airways Boulevard.
Okay, is the applicant present? Okay, you can come up and give us your name and address, and then we'll hear the case, then we'll hear your presentation.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Dawson Dickerson. The address is 1507 Airways Boulevard, Memphis, Tennessee, 38114.
Okay, thank you. We're going to hear the case before you make your presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you hear me? Good morning. This is Masana Stadnia with DPD. This case is a special use permit to allow vehicle sales. It is located in CMU 1 zoning district, and the surrounded land uses are mix of single family and commercial uses. Here you can see some of the site photos, which I'm gonna explain the changes that the applicant has made. So the top left is a previous picture from January 2023. And the next one is May 2025, when the applicant has made some changes to the subject property. As you can see, this is Diedrich Avenue, and based on the changes since like from 2022 to May 2025, you can see that the applicant has added some fencing, which has been illegal. The applicant did not receive any permit for putting the uncoated chain link to the subject property. Also, as you can see in the second picture in May 2025, you can also see a shipping container that has been added to the subject property, which lacks the permit for it as well. Next one is from the Riley Avenue. As you can see, in January 2022, still there is grass, no like fencing added there. But as you can see in May 2025, the applicant has added some gravel to the major, like a significant portion of the subject property, and also added 10 parking spaces which did not receive the legal permits. This required an ASPR, which the applicant failed to apply for the ASPR. Also, it's worth to mention that the applicant is running a business as tire sales and also towing services, and they have been running this business without the permit, and the subject property also lacks the certificate of occupancy. Let's see. Okay, also, this is the subject property from the above. Also, this is the site plan that the applicant has provided to us. Memphis 3.0 believes that this use is inconsistent with the future land use. And hence, staff believes that this requires a rejection. However, if approved, these are the conditions. The outdoor display needs to be limited. Outdoor storage is prohibited. Used tire sales are prohibited. There are some requirements and conditions from about the screening, landscaping, dumpster location, and also at the end, the applicant also needs to apply for an ASPR to be approved by the Division of Planning and Development. Also, I would like to add a final note to this application. In case this gets approved, it does not undo the illegal business and also illegal stuff that were like happening at the subject property. This only approves the vehicles, like used vehicle sales based on the conditions that we provided. That concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
You mentioned violations in the beginning. Have any citations of these violations been sent to the current owner? that we know of that?
I believe there are some enforcement cases that has been sent
has
to
there
the
been any
applicant, and that's
response
why
or-
they applied for this special use permit.
Okay, and the response to the violations have been to either fix or to now apply for something different?
So since they have been running the business without legal permits, they got the citations, and to get the approval for used vehicle sales, because CMU 1 zoning district does not allow that, they needed to apply for a special use permit. That's why they applied for the special use permit.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions of staff? Okay, hearing none, we're ready for your presentation. You have 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning, Chair and members of the board, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I'd like to say I'm here in full respect for this process and in good faith, and committed to bringing this property into full compliance. I accept all of the staff's recommended conditions. What I'm asking for is reasonable timelines to complete certain higher cost items, because the only things not yet completed are those I did not know were required at first. Once I became aware of any requirement, I acted immediately to address it. No one teaches you this when you start a business, but I've done everything I can to comply since acquiring the property, and I have built my business on trust within the community. Trust that depends on my ability to stay open and serve my customers. If I am not allowed to lawfully and sustainably expand under the special use permit, both my business and the local economy will be harmed, and the community will lose the services and opportunities I have worked to provide. At my required neighborhood meeting, I received signatures of support and no opposition. I also mistakenly mailed a notice to roughly double the required radius, and even with that larger mailing area, there were still no objections. This is not a quiet, low-traffic area. On Dedrick Avenue, right next to my shop, tanker trucks and 18-wheelers from the industrial plant 3 or 4 parcels behind my location run down the Dedrick corridor all day long, every day. So my minuscule special use permit request will have minuscule effects on the community compared to what's already going on. Immediately next door in the extra parking lot space at Walgreens, MPD and other agencies regularly meet and stage before dispersing. It's not officially labeled a staging area, but that's how it's used. Since I acquired my property, it happens more often than not, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week. That's the normal operating environment here. Directly across from Airways are AutoZone and O'Reilly's. Staff says parts retail is different, but in reality, customers change batteries, install light bulbs, and do small repairs right there in their parking lots. My business is the natural complement. They sell parts, I sell vehicles, and provide related services. On page 10 of the staff report, the aerial photo shows gravel coverage before I acquired the property. I did not install it. If the date had been shown like in the other photos and cross-referenced with my purchase agreement in the permit file, it would confirm it predates my ownership. I am willing to upgrade all vehicle use areas through the ASPR with proper surfacing and striping, but I need a reasonable timeline to do so. The barbed wire and uncoated chain link were installed for security before I knew they weren't permitted. I'm asking for adequate time to replace them with a compliant high-security alternative. I would also like the opportunity to bring the container into compliance, including painting and permitting, rather than removing it outright if that's acceptable. I have not to date received anything negative about the fence and everything until this special use permit, so I did not receive any. I was forced to shut down with no notice by the fire inspector, and as soon as he came and informed me that I was not operating legally because my certificate of occupancy wasn't approved, I had put it in, and I put in, which is now fully approved, the major, most costly upgrade I have made to the property since acquiring it, which, mind you, is just an owner financing term could be defaulted with 30 days of no payment. So I take the risk of losing my whole investment to this property and to this community. And this is the permit for my building I prepared for you guys to look at. And this is just awaiting it's fully approved, just awaiting a inspection. Now, I would like to address the used tire sales. I will no longer retail used tires. The only used tires on site will be from installing new tires or my existing indoor stored inventory acquired before I knew of the restriction. I ask for adequate time to sell it off in an orderly way with no outdoor piles or blight. Any towing is incidental to sales, service, or roadside assistance, which, mind you, this special use permit is also for the 24/7 operation of roadside assistance based from this property, which will be minuscule and be only comings and goings at night of roadside assistance vehicles, and no work will be conducted on the property after hours. The only direct residential interface is behind me, and I will fully comply with the UDC Class 3 buffer requirement. Regarding the future land use and A&M designation, I understand the long-term vision encourages walkable mixed-use development. My property is already walkable, and if approved, customers and community members will be able to walk right up to the front door of the office building and drive away in a reliable, affordable used vehicle with on-site service, repair, and roadside assistance if they ever break down. The reality on the ground today is that this corridor already supports heavy 18-wheeler traffic, MPD staging next door, and auto-related retail directly across the street. My business will not block sidewalks, bike lanes, or public improvements, and if future corridor upgrades require space, I will relocate rather than obstruct. What I have done is take a long vacant property and make it active, maintained, and valuable, which serves both the spirit of revitalization and the needs of this community. Approval with these conditions and timelines that are reasonable and workable will protect the neighborhood character, bring the site into compliance, and preserve a lawful community-serving investment. I respectfully request your approval with the staff's conditions and the timelines I've described. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of the applicant, board members? No questions? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting so that we can vote. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve item number 14, SUP 2025-018, South Special Use Permit to allow vehicle sales in the Commercial Mixed Use 1, CMU 1 District located at 1507 Airways Boulevard.
Okay, we have a motion. Second. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Okay, I assume that we're ready to vote. All in favor say aye. Don't we vote in the positive?
You had no positive votes.
Huh?
Yeah, you had no positive votes.
Okay, all right.
Might want to do a roll call.
I can do a roll call.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Gill?
No.
Mr. McKinnon? Mr. Norman?
No.
Ms. Wilbanks?
No.
Mr. Winter?
No.